During the 1745 rising, the minister of this Highland parish lived here. He was an ardent upholder of the Hanoverians and was not liked by the Jacobites. Shortly before the Battle of Culloden, a large group of clansmen from the West Highlands stopped here, and after having had several drinks at the local inn, they surrounded the manse and shouted for the minister to come outside. A few of them forced themselves into the house, vowing vengeance against him. He, meanwhile, had sought refuge in the cellar. One Jacobite officer entered the sitting room where the alarmed household were gathered and demanded to see the minister. One of the family's children was attracted by the ornamental handle of the Jacobite officer's dirk and took hold of it as if it were a plaything. The Jacobite said, "I'll give that to you, my boy, if you will tell me where your father is." The child, not understanding what was happening, replied, "Well, he's just down there," pointing to the floor, but the officer laughed and left the manse, calling off his fellow clansmen. After the Battle of Culloden, the minister evidently had a change of heart because he took in 2 Jacobite officers who had been severely wounded. He concealed them carefully for several weeks and tended to their wounds in the very same cellar where he himself had sought refuge. When their wounds were healed, they departed, but left behind in a cupboard within the cellar their bonnets and other items. These were only discovered many decades after the Battle of Culloden. There used to be a church adjoining the manse. It was a humble structure, thatched with heather. All that remains of the church now are the walls, as shown here. Within these church walls were confined over 60 Jacobite prisoners who had been captured in retreat from the Battle of Culloden. Some proposed that the church should be set on fire, but the minister intervened to prevent this, stating that the prisoners would not attempt to escape. Soon afterwards, these poor Jacobites were taken under escort to the Duke of Cumberland in Inverness. Their fate is not known. This in itself tells you their fate was not a good one. In the retreat after Culloden, many of the unfortunate Jacobites passed through this way in detached parties in an effort to make their way home. Many of them succumbed to their wounds or to sheer exhaustion and were buried where they died. One took his last breath in the corner of a cottage garden nearby and was quietly interred there, at no small risk to the occupants. To harbour Jacobites was punishable by death.